So lucky I found your content, but I hate that it's portrayed as manipulative and radical by normal people. Please don't call the transphobes who are attacking me normal people. They're not normal people. Child abuse is very neglected. Oh yeah. Why is the stranger danger always such a prominent thing where we know that most of the times children are being abused by a guardian, by their uncle, a parent? That is the most common. It's not some stranger danger. It's not some random gay person you see on the street. Most of the time, it's someone who has a bond with that child. Where conservatives love pushing the idea that no, it's the stranger. It's not the pastor and the judge. It's the random trans person that lives on the opposite side of the planet. It got really heavy, but it's honestly necessary to have these conversations. Yeah. And it's not something I like talking about. It's important to mention this. The misinformation and the propaganda is like so prevalent. Racism against Latinos is just pure profit and a hood placed over society. Trans people are just the main target. It's the same with like gays against groomers who are not actually against groomers. They're just spreading lies about trans people. It's the same with LGB Alliance who don't care that we're just straight people pretending to care about LGBT rights while never doing anything for LGBT rights. Like, you know, calling out when straight conservatives go after gay marriage. They're just there to spread misinformation about trans people. It's always just propaganda for profit, hiding behind a good cause. Same with like LGB without the T. Oh, nobody had an issue with the LGB community until you trans people came for the kids. Like, yeah, you're blaming the victims for you abusing other minorities because you've never stopped coming after gay rights. You also never stopped coming after like women's rights or going after like the rights of people of color. LGBT without the T are the stupidest fucking people ever. Oh yeah. Most of the time, people who push that are straight people who are not impacted by it, but they're just like using it as an excuse to divide and conquer the whole community. And it's always so pathetic when queer people fall for it. But like most of the time, this is just literally propaganda bots and it is straight people. You know, that's why TERFs always love doing that. And the thing is like with social media, there's so much propaganda going on, but like a lot of the times you can't tell. And a lot of people fall for it. It's as much about bathrooms as it was about water fountains. Yeah, exactly. My sister fell for the Blaire White grift and that made me so scared to come out to my family. Yeah, understandable because like it's a trans person like saying all these like transphobic things. There must be something about it. Blaire White is a trans woman who was able to transition early on and who was able to access all these treatments and then trying to gatekeep other people from doing the same because money. Was Blaire White a trans woman who was able to transition and is now doing like the transphobic grift? And it's so interesting to me when people come into my comment section and they're like, oh, the only trans woman I can respect is Blaire White. She knows that she's not a real woman. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, you don't respect Blaire White. You're just happy to use her as an example to push your agenda. That's what it is. There's no respect going on. That's like a dude, an incel saying, the only woman that I can respect is a woman that lets me do whatever I want with them. And the woman I respect is the one that appeals to me. The same with like the anti-woke people. It's like the only female protagonist I like is the one that appeals to me. The only female characters I like are the ones that I enjoy looking at. Why are they not attractive enough to me? It's like you don't respect women and you don't even respect that woman. I suggest we force them anti-trans folks and make them transition back to that gender. It would be like a really good experiment. Why does Jubilee not do that? Like taking 20 anti-trans people, forcing them to transition and take hormones and whatnot, live as the opposite gender, and then tell us how it goes. Why doesn't Jubilee do that? Taking 20 conservative men, turning them into a woman for 5 years. But the thing is, like, it was the same with like flat earthers, where flat earthers are being taken to the Antarctic, where they're watching like the 24-hour sun, and then people being like, well, they're not the real flat earthers. They are paid off by big globe, and you just gotta keep doing it. You gotta start with like the the politicians, go start with Elon Musk. Take J.K. Rowling, let her live as a woman for like a year or something. So like, yeah, I found your content, but I hate that it's portrayed as manipulative and radical by normal people. Transphobes aren't normal people. Please don't call the transphobes who are attacking me normal people. They are not. They're not normal people. Most of the time, they're bots. They're propaganda bots. And just sock puppets. Like, conservatives are mentally, like, deranged. They're not normal people. They're weirdos. They want to make it seem like they're normal. And, you know, that's where the idea comes from of, like, gender queer and whatnot. Like, the LGBTQ community are the weird ones. But, you know, we are the normal people. A lot of cis people, like, the majority of cis people are supportive of trans people. Like, the approval ratings are still, like, 70% or something. These fascists... They want to push the idea that they are normal. They are the normal ones. But they are not normal. They don't represent the majority of people. I'm also convinced the people who voted for them are mostly just uninformed. The thing is, like, they believe the lies. And most of the time, they voted for Trump because the Democrats didn't offer solutions. And like Trump was like spreading the lies, like, oh, the grocery prices are going to go lower. He's going to fix inflation. He's going to fix all these things. And they were like, well, you know, I'm not trans. I don't have like trans people around me. So I'm just going to vote for that party who is going to better my life, even if it makes the lives of other people worse. Also, a lot of people thought that we are just fear-mongering. Like, that's why, like, a lot of MAGA people regret voting for Trump is because he was pushing the idea that he's going to get rid of corruption and the bad people in the government, and the people who lost their jobs were like, well, I'm a good person. He said he was only going after the bad people. So why am I losing my job? Because they don't realize who the good and the bad people are. You know, it's the same with like claiming everybody who's against a certain thing, just like calling them a terrorist. And then people are like, well, these are bad people, so we don't care what happens to them. It's the same with like, oh, these are the trans people we're talking about, you know, like child mutilation and whatnot. Like, we're just going to stop this. And then cis people come around and they're like, well, you know, like you freaking out about that is kind of a bad sign because like, I thought you are one of the GOAT ones. So, like, obviously, I don't think that, like, you have anything to worry about. That is just, like, the propaganda. Pushing the idea that there's, like, bad people in the trans community that they're going after and all the good people in the trans community are going to be unaffected. While not realizing they look at the entirety of the trans community as the bad people. We'll be honest, I hate Trump, but I believe Project 2025 was not their agenda. I feel like an idiot for falling for it. The thing is, like, why did you think that he had nothing to do with it, even though, like, the Heritage Foundation funded his campaign? Because he kept lying about it. Because he kept distracting you. He kept finding a different scapegoat. Gaslighting. Yeah, that's what they do. They just lie. They're constantly lying. They're gaslighting the American people again with the egg prices, being like, oh, the previous administration, Biden was responsible for the egg prices to go up, and now Trump has to fix it. And they think that he is actually responsible when it was Biden who was responsible because they left the world in such a bad place that it was going to go up regardless. Inflation going up is Biden, not the tariffs. Yeah, exactly. That is what the right-wingers are like really good at. They just like keep lying and they keep claiming things. It's like, oh, the DEI hires are bad. We abolish like all the bad people, the unqualified people, and then planes start crashing. And it's like, see what happens when you don't have competent people anymore. And it's like, yeah, you got rid of them. Canada is fighting back with the tariffs. Trump is actually not the aggressor. It is Canada's fault that Trump has to push these tariffs. It's like just lying. Just lying. And if you're uneducated, you fall for the propaganda. And that is the reason why there are so many people who believe the lies about trans people. Because, well, they are not affected. They don't know anyone who is trans. Why would they educate themselves? They're going to vote the party that is like gaslighting them into believing that they are going to improve their lives. Let me ask you this. How does taking away trans people's civil rights and forcing them into homelessness, losing their loans and cars and jobs and whatnot just because they are trans, how is that going to like fix egg prices and grocery prices and whatnot? It doesn't. I swear to you, it's going to get so much worse. But I hope that more and more people are going to like wake up and realize that they've been lied to. And they have the strength to admit that they are wrong. And they're going to open their eyes to a lot of things that the right has been pushing. And I hope that the Democratic Party or the liberals and whatnot, or the centrists are going to wake up and they're going to like have some action, because they've been pretty dormant. Taking away trans rights for money is just scraping pennies. Yeah, it's the same with like the reason why Hassan got like banned. He was like talking about like the fraud and like Medicaid, where this one dude who's now like a senator in the Republic Party and like funding a lot of things committed like $1.7 billion fraud in Medicaid. Meanwhile, Trump and whatnot, they're getting rid of some immigrants' social security, and that is like the corruption they are after, but not the actual fraud. Then there's the military sector, who literally has a presence in each sector of the world. How about we defund that and instead fund education? Yeah, and also, why are you going after trans people in the military? Like, someone being trans or gay or whatnot shouldn't prevent them from serving your country. Like, what the fuck? We're encouraged to fight against our neighbors, so we ignore the systemic problems in the government, business, and media. Yeah, exactly. It's just a distraction. Honestly, don't get how people fall for such media. You have the ability to do your own research. Yeah, but like a lot of people are still stuck at the echo chamber. A lot of people are literally stuck in that like Fox News echo chamber. And I know I'm cat Fox News now, but like I would never gaslight you in these ways. I'm only gaslighting you when I tell you that I'm not a bottom. That is why like the approval rating for trans people is actually pretty high. But like social media makes you believe that most people hate trans people. That is just like the lie pushed by like Russian propaganda bots, by Elon Musk boosting fascist accounts and whatnot. That is just what happens. You know, the blue checkmark people, like the people who are paying for blue checkmarks are most of the time propaganda bots. Twitter makes so much money with these Russian bot farms because they have to not only pay for the blue checkmarks, but they also pay for the API servers. Trans people are a convenient target for people with fascist agendas. Yeah, they're literally using the schmaltzy Germany playbook. It's kind of what you are talking about in the YouTube videos, since people are so vitriolic about it. Most people won't speak about certain topics to avoid it. Yeah, if you have a small account and whatnot, and you get like an overwhelming amount of like hatred, you're pushed into silence. And I can't imagine what bigger trans creators have to deal with. Like the things that I get with like 1.4 million impressions, I don't want to imagine what someone has to go through, either with like a fraction of the following with a similar amount of impressions, or what bigger creators have to deal with. I'm really worried that my country and the world in general is rapidly falling back to the modern version of 1940s Germany. Yeah, me too. And especially what's going on in the German government is also not looking that much better. A lot of very serious warning signs over here. Yeah, but people are still insisting that we're just fear-mongering. I wonder when they are going to start believing us. Maybe in 10 years when there are movies documenting what we've been through and everything is over. The next generation is going to be like, how could that happen? Never again. And then in a couple of generations, it all is going to repeat itself. You think this is going to be over in the next decade? I hope that it's going to be over in the next 10 months. We are at a turning point. Either it's going to get really bad and everything is falling apart and we're going to have like some form of war, or people are going to wake up to things. And the Republican Party is going to stop being far-right extremists and instead going back to where the Republican Party used to be.